All right, so ready to take a deep dive into the world of further education teaching. We're going way beyond just surface level today,
Absolutely.
using some great insights we got from RoleCatcher's career guide to really break down what this role is all about.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll understand what makes it tick.
I think what you'll find is it's a lot more nuanced than just standing up there with a textbook lecturing.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
So for those of us picturing, a dusty old classroom and a teacher with a pointer stick, what does an FE teacher really do day to day?
You know, it's interesting. I think of it almost like you're building a bridge more than you're just delivering information. You're
Okay.
designing these entire programs and learning experiences that are specifically tailored for adult learners. And that can be anything from, academic subjects to very practical skills,
Yeah.
even things like leadership development or creative writing.
Okay, so we're thinking like community colleges, vocational schools, that kind of the usual setting.
I mean, that's definitely part of it.
Yeah.
But RoleCatcher really highlights how diverse this whole landscape is becoming.
Okay.
We're seeing further ed programs popping up in community centers,
Wow.
businesses, even online,
Oh, wow.
and the demand is just skyrocketing, especially in fields like healthcare, technology, renewable energy, you name it.
Right. Because it's not just, 18-year-olds fresh out of high school anymore. It's
Okay.
adults going back,
Exactly.
keep up with their industries or change careers completely.
Yeah, and that's what I think makes this so interesting. You're working with adults who have this wealth of life experience and very specific goals.
Yeah.
They're not there because they have to be. They're there because they're choosing to invest in themselves.
Right.
And that changes the whole dynamic.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
So how does a teacher change what they're doing to adapt to that kind of learner? I mean, that's got to be night and day from managing like a room full of teenagers.
It is. And one of the things that RoleCatcher highlights is this idea of experiential learning.
Okay.
And that's really about recognizing and tapping into the prior knowledge, the skills that these adults are bringing in.
Okay.
So for instance, if you're teaching a history class and you have a former journalist, well, maybe you can leverage their experience to analyze primary sources.
Right.
Or if you're teaching economics, you have an entrepreneur, let's leverage their business acumen to bring some real-world context into the classroom.
So it's a lot less about lecturing at them and more about kind of guiding them through applying what they already know.
Exactly,
When the
this new information.
RoleCatcher even talks about designing assignments and exams that are specifically tailored for adult learners,
Interesting.
really focusing on practical application and problem solving rather than just rote memorization.
Okay.
It's a whole different ballgame.
So I'm dying to know, what is the actual work environment like? Am I picturing like piles of papers to grade and fighting for whiteboard markers, or like what's the vibe?
Well, I can tell you there's definitely paperwork involved, especially when it comes to designing your courses
Right.
and providing individualized feedback, which is so important for these learners.
Yeah. RoleCatcher's very upfront about, the workload, the administrative tasks that come with the territory.
Yeah, and I imagine like a lot of teaching professions, the pay maybe doesn't always reflect the level of expertise and dedication.
Yeah, and that's a valid concern.
Yeah.
RoleCatcher does acknowledge that the salary might be lower compared to other professions where you have similar education requirements.
Right.
It's definitely something to weigh carefully.
Yeah, a good reality check for sure.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, I have to imagine that there's a huge sense of fulfillment that comes with, giving these adults the tools to reach their potential.
Absolutely. And RoleCatcher really emphasizes this, the profound impact that you can have on people's
Yeah.
lives.
Yeah.
Imagine helping someone transition to a completely new career,
Well,
or pursue a lifelong passion, or even just gain the confidence to, advocate for themselves.
yeah.
That kind of impact is incredibly rewarding. Actually, it makes me think of this one student I had. She was a single mom, late 30s, came back to school for a web development certificate,
Wow.
and she just crushed it, aced the program, launched her own freelance business,
That's amazing.
and now she's, working from home, raising her kids.
Wow.
Seeing that kind of transformation firsthand, it really is what makes this profession so rewarding.
Yeah, it's incredible. And it really speaks to that ripple effect, right? It's not just about the one student's achievement.
Right.
It's families, communities, like the impact is huge.
Absolutely.
So, okay, let's say someone listening is like, all right, this is speaking to me. This sounds like something I want to do. What are the actual skills and knowledge needed to like even step into this field?
Well, RoleCatcher is very clear about this communication is key.
Okay.
And I'm not just talking about being able to lecture clearly, although that is important.
Right.
You're engaging with these adult learners. You're understanding of their motivations.
Right.
You're inspiring them to push beyond their comfort zones.
Yeah, it's about connection. Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Building that rapport, making them feel comfortable, making it a safe space to learn.
Exactly. And because the adult education landscape is constantly shifting and changing,
Sure.
being adaptable is crucial.
Yeah.
Think about new technologies, changing job markets, different learning styles. You got to be on your toes. You know, a successful FE teacher is always willing to tweak their approach to meet the needs of their students.
It almost sounds like you have to embody that love of lifelong learning yourself to be good at this.
You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
RoleCatcher really stresses this, the importance of FE teachers constantly, updating their own knowledge and skills.
Okay.
Whether that's staying on top of the latest developments in their field, exploring new teaching methods, or just being curious about the world.
Right.
The best FE teachers, they live and breathe that lifelong learning.
Okay, so stay curious, stay up to date.
Absolutely.
What about formal qualifications? Are there specific certifications that are really valuable?
Well, of course, a teaching certificate is always a great foundation, but you can definitely boost your, credibility with specialized certifications.
Okay.
RoleCatcher specifically calls out a few like adult education certificates,
Okay.
PESOL, which is teaching English as a second language,
Right?
and even instructional design, especially with more and more learning happening online.
Right. That's huge right now, so that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So it's extra tools in your tool belt.
Exactly.
You stand out.
It give you an edge.
Okay, so we've talked about the qualifications and the skills.
Yeah.
Let's get practical. What are some things someone can do to get their foot in the door, get that experience?
Hands-on experience is so valuable.
Sure.
And RoleCatcher suggests exploring volunteer opportunities, maybe working as a tutor, a teaching assistant in adult education programs,
Right.
even leading workshops or training sessions,
That's a great idea.
even if it's just a few hours a week. That can give you incredible insights.
Yeah.
And you start building your network, which is so important.
Right. So you're kind of learning on the ground and then also making those connections at the same time,
Absolutely.
which is doubly valuable.
Yeah, and attending conferences,
Yeah.
joining online forums, participating in, local education committees, all fantastic ways to immerse yourself.
It's about becoming part of the community,
Exactly.
not just showing up to do the job, but really understanding the ecosystem.
And I think networking in any field, it's important.
Of course.
But in education, where it's so collaborative,
Yeah.
it's crucial, It's not just about finding jobs, although that's a great hook.
Right.
It's about exchanging ideas,
Yeah.
getting feedback on what you're doing in the classroom,
Yeah.
staying ahead of the curve, because this is not a static field.
Right. Things are changing constantly.
Exactly. So yeah, actively engaging with that FE community can be so, so beneficial.
Okay, so you've gotten some experience under your belt. You've
Yeah.
got the certifications.
Yeah.
You're networking. You're meeting people. What does career progression actually look like in this world? Is there room to grow, to specialize? What are the options?
There absolutely is. And RoleCatcher does a good job of laying out some of these really interesting advancement opportunities.
All right.
As you gain experience, you could move up to become a department head, a program coordinator. You could even get into curriculum development,
Wow.
really shaping the educational journey for, potentially hundreds of students.
That's incredible.
It's amazing.
And I love how all of those roles, it's building upon the skills you're already developing as a teacher.
Exactly.
The leadership, the organization, the curriculum design, it's a natural progression.
Absolutely. You're not just stuck in a classroom.
Right.
And then for those who are really passionate about research and, kind of shaping the future of education,
Yeah.
there's always the option of pursuing a doctorate,
Right.
becoming a professor or researcher.
So many doors can open, it sounds like.
It really is, yeah.
And I imagine with each step, more responsibility, bigger impact, all that. But in those early years, for someone who's just starting out, what's that trajectory actually look like? How much freedom, I guess, does a brand new FE teacher have?
Well, RoleCatcher gives this great example. They say, you might start by assisting with program delivery.
Okay.
So maybe co-teaching with someone more experienced.
Right. So you've got like a mentor, someone to guide you,
Exactly,
to learn
exactly.
the ropes.
Yeah, you're mastering those teaching methods. You're providing feedback to students.
Okay.
You're kind of getting a feel for the rhythm of the FE world.
Yeah, yeah, like getting that foundation really solid.
Exactly.
And then from there, as you get more experience, more confidence,
Yeah.
maybe you're taking on more, like designing your own curriculum, mentoring newer teachers,
Abs
maybe even doing research, presenting at conferences, things like that.
Absolutely. You can really shape your own path.
Wow, it's really dynamic, it seems like.
It is, yeah. And I think what's really amazing is that no matter like how far you go in your career, that core purpose, that desire to really empower adult learners,
Yeah.
that's always there.
Yeah, it's the heart of it all.
It is, yeah.
Wow, we have covered so much ground today on this deep dive.
Yeah, we really have.
And it's so clear that, further education teaching, it's not just about, standing up there and delivering information. It's
Yeah.
about understanding how adults learn.
Absolutely.
It's about changing how you teach to match that. It's about connection, building those relationships, and ultimately making a real difference.
And I think igniting that passion for lifelong learning, not just in the students, but in yourself as well.
I love that. Yeah, that's beautifully said.
Thank you.
So for anyone listening who's like maybe feeling that little spark, right? They're hearing this, they're like, maybe this is me.
Mhm.
What would be like one final thought, one thing to leave them with?
We've talked about the what and the how of becoming an FE teacher.
Yeah.
I think the most important question to ask yourself is why?
Okay.
Why does this resonate with you?
Interesting.
What unique skills, what experiences, what passions can you bring to this? Because that's what's really going to fuel your journey
Yeah.
and make you a truly impactful educator.
I love it. Finding your why.
Absolutely.
So much great information today. Thank you so much for taking this deep dive with us.
Yeah, it was my pleasure.
And for everyone listening, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of further education teaching.